From homeless black man to milionario, the Donald Trump and Elon Musk story. They say truth is stranger than fiction. Take the story of Marcus, once a homeless man shadowed by rain and neglect, who now, unbelievably, walks a path that could put billionaires like Donald Trump and Elon Musk to shame. It's a tale packed with flashes of mystery, brutal hardship, and secrets that threaten to shake the foundations of a city too busy to care. How does a man with nothing rise to limits no one sees? What lies beneath years of silence? Why do some powerful people want Marcus gone, hidden forever in the cracks of the concrete jungle? Think about it. A man soaked to the bone in a storm that turns streets into rivers, stepping into a sleek glass skyscraper to escape the cold. A homeless figure meeting a titan of wealth inside a metal box that smokes with tension. The storm howling outside mirrors the chaos that's about to unravel inside that claustrophobic elevator. Marcus's hardened eyes. Henry's first reaction, cold judgment. But as Marcus's story starts slipping out, quiet, sharp, painful, Henry feels something gnawing in his chest. That lump of guilt. The sting of truth clawing at his skin. Each word Marcus drops is like a thunderclap inside Henry's mind. Outside, the storm's fury grows louder, smashing windows and tearing through the city like a wild animal unleashed. Inside, time cracks open. The tension burns hotter than the lightning flashing through the glass walls. Then, bam! A crash shakes the building. Marcus stiffens. Henry's gaze snaps sharp. Someone's after Marcus, chasing ghosts that aren't just from the streets. They reach deep into the darkness of powerful families. Lies built on the backs of men like Marcus. What will Henry do? Will he pull back into his bubble of comfort, shields raised and doors locked? Or will this forced close-up on a brutal past make him face what he's been deaf to all along? The elevator jolts, the lights flicker back to life. But as the doors slide open, the silhouette of a shadowy figure waits, blocking the path. The air thickens. The truth is about to come crashing down on both men. Who is that figure? What secrets do they hold? And what really connects Henry and Marcus in this violent storm of power, pain, and hidden pasts? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The elevator doors creaked open, revealing the shadowy figure. A tall man draped in a dark coat, the brim of his hat casting deep shadows on his face. A gust of wind blew in from the hallway, rattling the elevator like a warning bell. Henry's heart raced. Who was this stranger blocking their escape? "Step aside," Henry demanded, a surge of bravado pushing him towards the mystery. But the man didn't budge. He stood there like a stone wall, eyes sharp and knowing. Marcus felt the chill of fear crawl up his spine. He knew this man. The hidden truths of his past collided with his present, and suddenly, all the years spent buried in silence rushed back like a flood. The storm outside howled, echoing the chaos inside his mind. "Who are you?" Marcus's voice trembled, each word like glass slipping from his grasp. "Your banker," the stranger replied, but his tone carried not even a hint of warmth. "Or perhaps I'm just the man sent to collect what you owe." "Collect?" Henry interjected, fists clenched. "What are you talking about?" "Secrets have their price," the man said, stepping closer. "And Marcus here? He doesn't know half of what he's tangled in." A sudden, sharp gasp escaped Marcus's lips. Memories buried deep. A family he thought was lost to time. Links buried under generations of deception. You can't be him!" The man chuckled darkly, the sound like gravel crunching underfoot. "You've got a family tree, Marcus, and it branches out through wealth," he said, glancing at Henry. "You're closer to the truth than you realize." Henry's head spun. "What are you talking about? What does he have to do with you?" The stranger turned his gaze back to Marcus, who trembled under the weight of the moment. "Bloodlines don't lie. Your blood is tied to power, real power, and they'll come for you. They already are." A violent crash reverberated through the building, rattling the windows and sending shards of anxiety through the air. Outside, the storm's fury escalated, thunder roaring like a monster. The figure before them stood unfazed, eyes flickering with a hint of malicious pleasure. "You can run, but that won't change your fate, Marcus," the man sneered. "You were marked long ago. They know you're alive." "What do you mean?" Henry's voice shook with determination and confusion. "Who's coming for him?" "Your family, Henry. They think you're in the clear, living in your castle of lies. But this," he gestured, encompassing the elevator, the chaos, the storm. "This is just the beginning." Marcus's breath quickened, panic rising. This was more than he'd ever expected. He thought he could finally find peace, that his past was buried deep beneath the concrete where he once wandered. This wasn't just about survival now. It was about revelation. "Wait," Henry said, a revelation dawning on him. "Are you saying our families intersect? Is that possible?" The stranger's lips curled into a sinister smile. "Exactly, and the truth will rip the veil off everything you thought you knew." Just as those words hung heavy in the air, a blinding flash of light erupted outside, illuminating the entire elevator. The ground shook with a rumble that felt like the world was about to split open. Then, silence. The lights flickered again, leaving only the shadowy figure and Marcus, trembling, realization dawning on him like the first light of dawn after a long night. As the echoes of thunder faded into ambiguity, the two men stood frozen, eyes locked, each realizing the impact of this revelation. The connections that bound them were deeper than blood, entangled in fear, greed, and a history too terrible to ignore. What would happen next? Would they stand together? Or would this new truth tear them apart? And in the heart of that trembling storm, who truly held the power? The elevator doors slid open. revealing a shadowy figure standing like a sentry in the blinking emergency lights. The air thickened with tension. Henry and Marcus froze, eyes locked on the silhouette. "Marcus," Henry's voice dropped to a whisper. "Who is that?" "I don't know, but we need to move," Marcus replied, his pulse thundering. He stepped forward, heart pounding in his ears, but the figure stepped into the light, and the realization hit like a thump in the gut. It was Sarah, Henry's estranged sister. Her face, a mix of fear and fury, sent icy shudders spiraling through the air. "What are you doing here?" she snapped, eyes darting between the two men. The rushing storm outside felt distant, almost muted, compared to the tempest brewing between them. "Sarah, you shouldn't be here," Henry protested, a sinking feeling clawing at his chest. He suddenly wished he were miles away from this turmoil, back in the security of his plush office, instead of standing there with a broken man who was revealing secrets about a family he hardly knew. "Don't act like you care," she shot back, venom lacing her words. "When were you ever there for me?" "What do you mean?" The flicker of confusion from Henry ignited doubt. He felt like a child lost in a sprawling maze of adult problems. The tension crackled. "You think I don't know?" Sarah stepped closer, and the shadows shifted across her face, revealing something deeper. "I know everything. About you, about him." The absurdity of her words twisted reality. Marcus felt sweat beading on his forehead. "What are you talking about? Your father, our father," she spat. "He had a family before you, Henry. That's why he left. That's why we're all stuck in this mess." Henry's world tilted. His father had never mentioned any of this. So much was hidden within layers of silence, like a buried treasure of despair. "What? No, you're lying. Lying!" Her laughter rang hollow, echoing off the metal walls like the lament of lost voices. "I wish I were, but here you are, in this elevator, with the dead weight of a past you've ignored. You think money cleanses? Look at Marcus. You're connected, more than you think." The words wrapped around Henry like a vice. He turned to look at Marcus, who stood rooted, disbelief clouding his eyes. "Is this true?" "Not the way you think," Marcus said slowly, trying to catch a breath, letting the gravity sink in. "But the truth is tied to your family, to mine. I can't say it all yet." "Nothing." The other, "Not now." Before he could continue, a loud crash from behind jolted them. The emergency lights flickered again, shadows dancing chaotically, and the elevator lurched. Panic yanked at Henry's insides. "Someone's coming!" Marcus breathed heavily, eyes darting. "Then we need to get out," Sarah urged, her tone sharp, cracking with urgency. The cracks in their connections, once hidden and buried, now exposed, felt raw in the charged silence. In the midst of chaos, secrets unraveled like threads pulled from cloth. The past echoed with every heartbeat, dragging each character deeper into a web of lies. But the truth felt like a tidal wave, ready to drown them. "What do we do?" Henry stammered, caught between fear and mystery. He couldn't shake the icy grip of uncertainty. He felt the walls closing in. "Trust me," Marcus said, locking eyes with Sarah. "We're about to find out what we truly are. Together." Beneath that statement hung heavy shadows of doubt, family ties and secrets boiling to the surface. As panic bled through the room, the elevator jolted again, and the weight of the truth threatened to crush them all. Would they stand divided? Or was there a way to save one another And from this deepening storm of revelations, who would emerge unscathed at the end? The elevator felt impossibly small, the three of them standing there, breaths shallow, hearts racing. Marcus glanced between Sarah and Henry, tension so thick it pressed against the walls like the storm outside. "Trust me," Marcus insisted, his voice barely above a whisper. "We need to move before what?" He couldn't finish the thought. The previous words hung heavy in the air, each syllable threatening to weigh them down even further. The ground trembled again, a tremor of impending doom. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently and then went out. Darkness consumed the elevator, plunging them into a pitch-black void. Seconds ticked like hours. Panic spiked in Sarah's voice. "What's happening? We can't stay here!" Henry fumbled for his phone, switching on the flashlight. It cut through the darkness, revealing their faces, eyes wide, breath quick. "We can't let fear win," Henry blurted, though his voice trembled. The cold grasp of uncertainty swept over him. They needed a way out. Before he could formulate a plan, a horrible crash echoed from above, followed by the screeching sound of metal tearing apart. The floor shuddered violently. "Get down!" Marcus yelled, as the elevator jolted upward with a sickening jerk. They braced against the walls. The lights flickered back on, momentarily illuminating a scene of chaos. Wires sparking, the air thick with smoke. As they clung to one another, the doors sprang open, the lights spilling into the elevator like a siren calling to them. But it wasn't the comforting glow of daylight waiting on the other side. No, it was something far worse. Standing there, framed by the flickering emergency lights, was a crowd of people, a mix of suits and shadows from the storm. And in the front, holding a gun, was a man they all recognized, Marcus's long-lost father. "Dad?" Marcus's voice broke, disbelief clouding his mind. The man was supposed to be dead, buried in the lies that shackled their past. But here he was, alive and terrifying, eyes darting between Marcus and Henry, a wicked smirk creeping along his lips. "Surprise, son!" The world around them froze. "Get back!" Henry shouted, pushing Sarah behind him. Marcus, heart racing, felt the blood rush from his head. Secrets, no longer buried, surged back. Secrets he thought he could never face. "How is this possible?" Marcus demanded, fists clenched, anger bubbling straight to the surface. "You abandoned us!" "Oh, Marcus," his father mocked, voice dripping with disdain. "You have no idea how deep this goes, or how powerful I still am. You think you can run from me?" The storm outside howled like a wild beast, shaking the very foundation of the building. Each word fired at Marcus stung worse than a slap. Henry moved slowly, muscles tensed between fight or flight. "You don't have to do this," he pleaded, confusion gnawing at him. The man laughed, a harsh bark that echoed in the confined space. "Oh, you're all so naive. Did you really think you could escape this family, Marcus? I know everything about your little escapades. You were always meant to inherit this legacy." "Legacy?" Sarah shouted, anger lacing her voice. "You've ruined lives. What kind of legacy is this?" "Exactly the one I wanted," he thundered back, pointing the gun towards Marcus with a flourish. In that moment, the world around them shrank, every heartbeat pulsing louder than the last. The only sound was the rain slapping against the glass, a violent chorus to the chaos unfolding. Then, from the back of the crowd, a woman stepped forward, elegant yet ghostly, her features eerily familiar. "Marcus," she said softly, voice echoing through the sudden silence. "You don't know who you really are." Her gaze locked onto him, and he felt the air get sucked out of the room. The truth, whatever it was, washed over him in a flood tide of dread, crashing against the walls of his belief. Questions flickered in his mind, a whirlwind of confusion. Who was this woman? What did she know? "Stay back!" Henry shouted, stepping into the line of fire, love and fear intertwining in his chest. But the gunman didn't waver. "Step aside, Henry," he warned, a glint of malice in his eyes. Marcus felt a panic rising, realization flooding in. Was this his father? Or something more? What did she want him to understand? As the storm raged on outside, they stood on the precipice of a truth neither was ready to face. The air crackled, tight with tension, and Marcus realized nothing was what it seemed. He felt like he was drowning in uncertainty, everything he thought he knew feeling like a lie. And the questions hung there, a shadow over them all. What did it all mean? What would happen next? Would they all survive this storm? The doors of the elevator slide open. But it isn't just anybody standing there. It's a woman clad in a dark trench coat, her eyes sharp and fierce, brimming with a fire that cuts through the chaos. Her presence sends a chill down Marcus's spine. He knows her. He's seen that face before, painted in flashes of memory, soaked in shadows and secrets. "Melanie," he whispers, the name slipping like a ghost from his lips. The world outside is swallowed in chaos, yet in the confined space of the elevator, time hangs heavy. Henry shifts, barely breathing, confusion rippling through him. "Who are you?" he manages, voice trembling like the light flickering above. "Oh, I think you know me better than you'd like," Melanie shoots back, eyes narrowing to slits. The air thickens with tension. Every heartbeat felt like a drum. "Marcos fiel se taiten arraunde, un pasado invadido, una betrayo que trae tensión espantosa. Se encuentra atrapado en una tormenta de rabia y de miedo. ¿Qué haces aquí?" Las palabras se le caen en la garganta como pesos. Finalizar lo que comenzaba se está camino de pesada. Su voz se limpia, trayendo recuerdos que llevan el peso de los años. "You thought you could escape?" Pensa lo encuentra. Aquí, un fuerte catapulto en la sonda escalera, despertando a todos. The shadow of a man looms just beyond. Heavy footsteps boom, rapid fire. Each thud vibrates through the building. The tension thickens, coiling around them like a snake ready to strike. "Get back!" Henry yells, instinctively reaching for the emergency button. But Marcus, breathing heavily, pushes past him, facing the door like a warrior, determined to take a stand against a foe. "No!" he shouts, voice breaking. "That's what they want! They want you to hide!" A look of pure shock crosses Henry's face, a mixture of disbelief and dread. For a second, it seems like they're at a standstill. Two men from worlds apart, each wrestling with a fate they didn't choose. And then it happens. The door bursts open. A figure explodes into the elevator. It's the last person anyone expected to see. An older man with wild eyes and a storm of gray hair. "Marcus, we need to go," he screams, panic spilling from his lips. "Dad?" The word slips out, as if pulled from an old wound. Marcus stands frozen, heart pounding. Why is he here? Melanie's jaw drops slightly, barely concealing her shock. Henry stumbles back, his shield of confidence crumbling like paper in water. The family ties, the hidden connections, unravel before them. "Leave him alone!" Marcus roars, grounding himself, every memory crashing over him. Resentment, love, betrayal. "You've taken everything from us!" "Marcus, listen to me!" The old man's breath hitches, eyes glistening with desperation. "You don't know the truth. They're coming for us all. The truth will bury you." That statement lingers in the air, dense with doom. The storm outside rages like a beast unleashed. The very walls tremble. Questions race through everyone's mind. What truth? What lies beneath the surface? The man moves to grab Marcus, an instinctive protection. But Marcus pulls away. He's been pushed for too long. And now, everything is spiraling out of control. The elevator starts to shudder again. Lights flicker, and reality feels like it might warp. What's really happening? Henry's gaze is wide, the fear unmasked. What truth? What's going on? But all Marcus can think of is the blood that ties them all together. Secrets that could shatter everything they thought they knew. Fear grips like a vice, and hope feels like a distant whisper. As the machines whir and crash into confused silence, a memory breaks through. A flash of Melanie's face, following him as he sleeps under the stars. Whispers of betrayal tangled in his dreams. "Who are you really, Melanie?" he demands, eyes searching hers for the answer. And then it hits him, raw and unyielding. They're all waiting for the storm to pass, but perhaps it's just beginning. The answers hang in the air like storm clouds, heavy and dark. What will break first, the truth or the facade? The elevator doors creaked open, and there he stood, a tall figure cloaked in shadows, face obscured by the flickering light. The air crackled electric, filled with the scent of metal and something else. Fear, or a familiarity that sent shivers down Marcus's spine. "Marcus," the figure breathed, voice low like the rumble of thunder outside. It was a name heavy with history, carrying the weight of unspoken secrets. Henry's eyes darted between the figure and Marcus, confusion clouding his thoughts. "Who the hell are you?" Henry spat, his bravado cracking like the glass walls around them. But the figure only chuckled low, taking a step forward. "Your past is not as hidden as you believe, Henry," the figure pressed, narrowing the distance. "And neither is Marcus's. You both share more than just this moment." Marcus felt a rush of warmth mixed with dread. "What do you mean?" he asked, heart racing. He didn't understand. This man seemed to know something crucial. "Blood ties, my friend, blood ties," the figure said, pointing a finger at Marcus. "He's not just a stranger from the streets, he is part of you." Air turned thick, pushing against Henry, who stood frozen. That's impossible. I don't know this man. He's just a homeless man. Just a... Oh, Henry, the figure interrupted, stepping closer, his eyes blazing with intensity. You've lived a life wrapped in wealth, blind to the truths stained beneath your golden facade. You think your lineage is pristine? You think you're untouched by the sins of your ancestors? Look at Marcus. Marcus's chest tightened. He caught a glimpse of potential recognition in Henry's eyes, a flicker of something that screamed connection. What are you saying? The figure continued, voice matching the storm outside. You come from a family that has stepped over the backs of men like Marcus. Your grandfather's decisions echo through time. A hidden brother, a secret born from an affair of essence and power, discarded like trash. No, Henry gasped, dismayed. That's not true. But doubt wormed its way into his heart. Open your eyes. Marcus's voice emerged from the shadows of his own fear. If this is true, if we are connected, it changes everything. You're not just some businessman. You have a responsibility. The figure stepped back, surveying the tension growing between them. Remember this moment, gentlemen. The storm reveals more than you know. It can also wash away the sins buried beneath concrete and greed. Suddenly, a piercing scream sliced through the air, louder than the thunder that had been drumming ceaselessly. The lights flickered again, and just as suddenly, an explosion rocked through the building, rattling the very core of their reality. Glass shattered. Henry stumbled backwards, fear plastered across his face. But Marcus remained, grounded. His heart thudded in his chest, but clarity washed over him. The secrets that connected him to Henry were dangerous. And out there, the world was unraveling. Marcus, run! Henry shouted, panic-stricken, eyes wide with terror. But Marcus hesitated, locked in that moment of revelation. Could he really leave? If the connection was true, how could he walk away while their fates entwined? Do you really think you can escape what was done? The figure called as the chaos erupted around them. The past is coming for you both. The truth can't be silenced. As smoke filled the air and sirens wailed in the distance, Marcus faced a choice. Would he reveal everything to Henry? Was he ready to carry the burden? To dive deeper into this dark web of betrayal? The shadowy figure melted into the smoke, leaving just the magnetic pull of truth to hold them. Outside, the storm still roared, but this time it carried a new urgency, one that held the promise of revelation or the threat of devastation. Would Henry accept the truth? Would Marcus confront his reality? A heavy silence fell, broken only by the remnants of the breaking storm. Everything had changed. The elevator doors slid open, revealing a tall figure cloaked in the shadows of the flickering lights. The air was electric, cloaked in tension. Marcus felt his heart race, skin prickling, each nerve on high alert. Who was this? Henry squinted, confusion lacing his features. He half stepped forward. The figure remained still, eyes glinting like shards of glass. Then a voice cut through the chaos, smooth yet chilling. Time to talk, it said, a hint of menace laced in the words. Who are you? Marcus croaked, voice barely escaping his lips. The figure took a step into the light, and Marcus's breath caught. It was Rachel. No, not just Rachel. A princess in a designer suit. The same Rachel who had grown up with Henry, the one who glittered in every high society event. His past flickered back. She had been his neighbor, the one who laughed at his struggles as a child, and now stood there, looming, like a specter of all he had lost. "What are you doing here?" Henry's voice faltered, brows knitting together as he struggled to comprehend the madness unfolding. Rachel smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You really don't know, do you?" The storm outside raged, a perfect storm of wind and rage, like what was brewing inside the elevator. Then she turned to Marcus, voice suddenly sharp. "You should have stayed hidden. You could have taken the secrets with you." Marcus felt blood drain from his face. Secrets? What secrets? He could barely remember a time when he was anything but invisible. A ghost haunting the corners of a city that remembered nothing of his existence. "Stop! Just what are you talking about?" Henry demanded, the sharpness building in his voice. But before Rachel could reply, a loud crash echoed from above. The lights flickered dangerously. "They're coming," she hissed, glancing nervously at the ceiling. "Who's coming?" Marcus pressed, panic bleeding into his words. Rachel edged closer, and for a fleeting moment, Marcus saw vulnerability flash across her face. "You think it ends with you?" she breathed. "You think your story is the only one that matters? Sometimes the past has a way of clawing back, and some of us," she trailed off, glancing at Henry, then fixing her eyes on Marcus. "Some of us have blood on our hands." Henry clenched his fists, anger mixing with disbelief. "Enough of this game, Rachel! Stop twisting words! You're not making sense!" Daniel's grasp on reality slipped into chaos. It hit him with a gut-wrenching force, the memory of a family secret buried deep, whispered over festive dinners, and masked by polite smiles. "No, that can't be true," he muttered, the weight of his own lineage crashing down like the storm outside. Rachel's expression shifted, wearing a mask of regret. "You can't run from this. Your family. It ties us all together in a way you never understood." Suddenly, another force shook the ground. The emergency alarm blared, a deafening wail amplifying the panic. A rumble echoed from somewhere in the building, vibrating through the walls. "We need to go, now!" Rachel shouted, her voice sharp like glass. But as they rushed for the door, Marcus halted. "I'm not running, not anymore." "What do you mean?" Henry stepped closer, buried in thoughts, his shoulders tense. "What's the connection, Rachel? You owe us that." But before she could respond, the lights went out completely. In the darkness, silence blanketed them, thick and suffocating. The distinct sound of footsteps echoed, heavy, deliberate. They weren't alone anymore. "Who's there?" Marcus's voice trembled, but he stood firm, heart pounding in his chest as fear morphed into something else. Was it courage? From the abyss, a voice hissed. "The truth doesn't care about your comfort, Marcus. Or your ties." And in that instant, everything changed. Choices, history, family. It all hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of revelation. The darkness swallowed them whole. Who was really pursuing Marcus? What truly bound him to Rachel? And what did Henry still not know about his own blood? The darkness pressed in tight, wrapping around them like a suffocating blanket. The weight of their breaths filled the elevator with tension as they stood frozen, waiting for something to break the silence. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from above, metal grinding against metal, the sound like bones snapping. It jolted Marcus from his thoughts. Panic surged as he reached for Henry's arm, his heart racing. What was that? A cold chill swept through the elevator. Rachel's voice trembled. "We have to get out of here!" "Ooh, just a minute!" Marcus exclaimed, his mind racing. That voice, that strange presence lingering in the darkness, it filled him with dread. He needed answers. "What do you mean by blood on your hands, Rachel?" Opened her mouth to respond, but before she could utter a word, the elevator lurched violently. The lights flickered, then went out again, leaving them in pitch blackness. A sudden weight dropped from above, a surge of chaos crashing down in a wave. They all stumbled back, clinging to each other for support. "I can't take this!" Henry gasped, trying to steady himself against the wall. A blur of movement cut through the darkness, followed by a shrill scream that sliced through the tension. Rachel's voice, full of terror. "No, get away!" Then, a flash of light burst through the cracks of the elevator doors, illuminating a figure just behind Rachel. A face stricken with horror. A face that cracked the moment, like glass shattering. "Mom?" Marcus breathed, disbelief overtaking the moment. "What are you doing here?" But it wasn't just any motherly figure. She looked older, weary, and utterly terrified. She raised her hands, eyes darting around, panic etched across her features. "They're here," she whispered. Boom. "Who's here?" Henry's voice shook as he pressed against the wall, dread painted across his face. Rachel's eyes widened, darting from Marcus to his mother. "This wasn't supposed to happen," she shouted, her voice hollowing as though it was draining. "You weren't supposed to find out." At that, Marcus's world tilted. Find out what? Every piece began to shift, cracking apart under pressure. Truth and betrayal bubbling up. "Mom, tell me, what's going on? What are you hiding?" "Bah! I didn't want this," she stammered, looking at Rachel with a mix of fear and anger. "I thought it would be over. I thought you were safe." "Safe?" Marcus's heart thudded painfully, rage pumping through him, sharpening his voice. Safe from what? From who? Another crashing sound, rough and menacing, like footsteps stomping toward them, echoing steadily. Rachel gasped, retreating into the corner of the elevator, as his mother stepped forward, eyes fierce. "You're their son," she stated, voice cold and trembling. "You're why they've come for you." Marcus felt the ground fall from beneath him. "What?" His heart raced, each vicious beat pounding heavy. "What do you mean, their son? Who are they?" Then it hit him, heavy and hard. He felt it, thrumming beneath the surface all along. Questions spiraled in his mind, weaving darkness and revelation into an unbearable tension. "They will tear us apart if they know," his mother said, voice shaking. "I was running from them, no matter how fast I fled." Running from what? Marcus was desperate for clarity, trembling. But the confusion swirled. Something deep beneath the turmoil shifted. "I am not who you think I am," she said, her voice quivering. "Neither is Rachel." Heavy silence filled the elevator. It crashed against the reality swirling in his mind. Whatever family ties he thought connected them were fraying. Rachel wasn't only the neighbor, the innocent girl from his childhood. "Rachel, what do you mean?" he spat, anger and heartbreak wrestling for control. Then Rachel's expression turned, something fierce sparking, a glimmer of vulnerability. "I wanted to protect you," she whispered, voice trembling. "You don't know who you really are." A sudden flash of light erupted outside, casting eerie shadows and illuminating the truth. Just as he heard the echo of a gunshot ring out in the distance. As silence reclaimed the elevator, Marcus stood on the edge of a chasm, realizing relationships and identities had shifted in an instant. Fragments of a life he thought he understood hung like heavy stones resting on his chest, and countless questions remained unanswered. What was true? Could it be that he was tied to a past he never imagined? And who were these shadowy figures closing in? The battle for understanding had only just begun. The ground shook beneath them, a warning thrum that echoed in their chests. Marcus's heart raced as the shadow of his past loomed, heavy and suffocating. His mother's terrified gaze locked onto him, her lips trembling, ready to spill every secret she held close. Then the lights blinked, revealing a flicker of fear in Rachel's eyes. "Mom, please," he urged, his voice hoarse with desperation. "We need the truth. What are we running from?" Before she could answer, the doors slammed shut. A loud bang shook the elevator as if something was trying to break in. Panic surged. "We can't stay here!" Henry shouted, his hands gripping the metal bar next to him, knuckles white. "Listen to me," Rachel said, her voice strong despite the chaos. "There are things you don't understand, Marcus. Things that could change everything." Just then, a loud crash reverberated, rattling the elevator violently. It felt like the very building was about to collapse around them. Rachel's eyes widened. "We have to go. Now! We don't have much time!" Marcus's mind spun. "What do you mean things could change everything?" His fear warped into anger. "Why are you doing this? You're supposed to be our ally!" Rachel opened her mouth as if to respond, but before any words could escape, the ceiling above them buckled. Dust fell like confetti, a celebration of imminent doom. "Get down!" Henry yelled, pushing Marcus and Rachel aside, as a hammering sound echoed from above. It was followed by another crash. The lights flickered again, then went out, plunging the space into deeper darkness. In that suffocating silence, a figure emerged from the shadows, a dark silhouette framed in the flicker of emergency lights that suddenly sparked back to life. An unmistakable figure. "Aaron," Marcus gasped, disbelief coursing through him. Aaron, his estranged brother, the brother he thought lost to the shadows of broken family ties, stood defiantly amidst the danger. "You shouldn't have come here," he shouted over the cacophony, voice resonating with an anger that felt like betrayal. "What? How?" Marcus stammered, heart pounding. "You're supposed to be—" "I'm alive, Marcus!" Aaron cut him off, stepping closer, relentless. "And I'm here to end this, to end you." Silence gripped the elevator, an icy knife hanging between them. Henry's eyes darted between the two brothers, confusion morphing into disbelief. "End him?" Henry echoed in confusion. "What are you talking about?" "You're too naive, Henry," Aaron sneered, brushing dust from his coat. "You don't know the legacy you're part of. This family, we're not just wealthy, we're dangerous. And Marcus? He's the liability that could tear us all apart. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Everything he believed twisted around him. You don't have to do this. We're brothers. We can fix this. Aaron's face morphed into a mask of rage, eyes flaring with intensity. Fix it? With what? Lies? The truth will destroy us all! He pointed a finger at Marcus, voice rising. You're a mistake, a reminder of our father's past, a family secret that has to be killed off before it rises again. A chilling silence fell, as if the world outside held its breath. The truth, a hidden terror that dug deeper than blood. The air crackled with uncertainty. No, no, Marcus shouted, panic surging. That's not who I am. But Aaron stepped forward again, his face hardening, voice dropping to a whisper. You don't know everything. Then the elevator lurched again, knocking them off balance. Metal groaned under pressure. The sound screeched painfully, twisting their collective hopes into nightmares. Mom! You have to say something, Marcus said, looking for any single thread of hope to pull them back from this edge of chaos. Yet, without warning, something hit the doors, a thunderous crash that echoed in their bones, shaking the very foundation of the elevator. The doors flung open, replaced by a blinding light, revealing a swarm of silhouettes heading into the depths of the chaos. There, at the forefront, was a woman in a crisp suit, one he recognized all too well. You thought you could hide, she said, voice cold and unyielding, her eyes fixed on Marcus. It was his mother's twin sister, the one who had vanished amidst their family's darkest secrets. We've come to collect. Every sense in Marcus screamed. The walls of truth had crumbled, revealing a family tangled in power plays and old wounds. What? Was all he could muster, the gravity of the moment pressing in like a vice. Who was really coming for them? What did his mother know? What did they want from him? As the noise of chaos flooded in, a single question haunted him. Had anyone ever really known the full story? The chaos swirled around them, voices raised, tension thick in the air. Marcus stood at a crossroads, staring at Aaron and the mysterious woman who had just barged in. A woman who looked all too familiar and yet felt like a ghost from the past. His heart pounded, each beat echoing with questions that begged for answers. Why are you here? What do you want? He felt the lump in his throat, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him like the darkness surrounding them. The woman stepped forward, her eyes cold yet pleading. We're here to help and to warn you. A warning, Henry reiterated, his fists clenched, fear clear in his eyes. What are we in danger from? From behind the woman, shadows lurked, keeping their distance but clearly moving closer. Marcus felt a rush of adrenaline. This wasn't just a family affair. It was a reckoning. Everyone is connected, Marcus, she stated, her voice a haunting whisper amidst the chaos. Your family's history isn't just about wealth. It's about survival. And you've been running from it for too long. Aaron laughed bitterly, stepping up beside Marcus. Survival? You mean hiding. You all think you can just escape into the shadows? No! Marcus shouted, the anger bubbling over. I didn't ask for this life. None of us did. You chose this path. I'm not responsible for your mistakes. But the woman responded, her voice steady, eyes locked onto Marcus. You're the last piece of a puzzle you didn't want to be a part of. It's time to face it together. Just then, the crescendo of noise burst outside as the elevator screeched, rumbled violently, and tremors shook their very core. A flash of panic crossed everyone's faces, and in that moment, the walls seemed to close in further. "Get ready!" Henry yelled, bracing himself against the metal. "They might break in." Marcus felt the fear thrum in his veins, the sound of heavy footsteps growing louder. There was urgency in the air, a desperation that clutched him tighter than a vice. Then, as if the universe had sensed their mounting dread, the lights above flickered wildly, before plunging them back into darkness. All they could hear were their ragged breaths, mixed with the distant pounding of the storm outside. It felt like a moment stretched into eternity. "We need a plan," Rachel said urgently. "The truth will come to light, but we need to control it. We have to unite." "Unite?" Aaron scoffed, incredulous. "After everything? Do you really think trust can just be thrown around?" "No," Marcus interjected. "But facing the truth together might save us. We can't keep hiding." Then came another loud crash, rattling the elevator once more. The air felt electric, charged with something more than fear, an understanding of what lay ahead. With one last look around, he stepped forward, almost instinctively, ready to act. What do we do next? The uncertainty lingered between them, but in that moment, something shifted. They were all tangled, tied together by blood and history. Before anyone could respond, the doors of the elevator slammed open, revealing the shadows from before, figures almost crawling out from the darkness with intent. Each person in the room tensed. The reckoning had arrived. Marcus stood his ground. This was it, a moment of truth, a clash of past and present. As he looked at each face around him, he felt a flicker of determination ignite. Blood ties mattered, but so did choice. He reached for Henry's hand and then Aaron's, drawing strength from both of them. "Together," he breathed, "we face whatever comes next. Together." And as the storm raged outside, with lightning illuminating their shared fear, the figures approached. Beyond the shadows and chaos, the echoes of their past whispered fragility. Yet under that fear, hope sparked, a chance to reclaim what had been lost. Will they rise above the darkness or be consumed by it? You have to subscribe now. Don't wait even a second longer. Smash that like button now to help us beat the algorithm. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see how this all unravels. This is the moment to show your support and be part of our amazing community.